Money is like a control panel in a cockpit, full of buttons, warning lights, and one dial called enough. The problem is that dial almost never stays still. It moves up a little, and then it makes you think you are still lacking. I am Miles, and I spend far too much time watching how people get controlled by that panel instead of controlling it. If you watch this video to the end, you will have a clear map to get richer over time, understand the economy in a real-life way, and avoid a few money traps that make people run forever without feeling calm. I am not promising quick riches. I am promising you will see money as a system, not as a feeling. And here is the number most people do not say out loud. Most people only get about 3 to 6 months of happiness after each income increase before the brain labels it normal. Now, let me tell you a scene. It sounds very familiar. 6 years ago, you earned about $36,000 a year, lived in a small room, drove an old car, and told yourself that if you could just reach 60,000, you could finally breathe. You believed that mark was like an emergency exit. You open it, and your chest feels lighter. You looked at the future and pictured a version of you that worries less. Today, you climbed there. You worked overtime, took hard assignments, changed companies, changed roles, and your income is now around $72,000 a year. You moved into a brighter place, bought a newer car, ate out more often, and dressed sharper because the job asks for it. But the strange part is, you are still here, looking for the answer to why your inside still feels tight, just like before. Even worse, if you are honest, you feel more tense now. Because now, you have more things to protect, more bills to pay, more expectations to meet. And the most ridiculous part is, you already started telling yourself a new sentence. If I can just hit 90,000 or 100,000, then I will be fine. That sentence is an old song. It just changes key. If you have ever hit an income milestone and still felt stuck emotionally, stay. And if this video helps you understand yourself better, you can subscribe, because this channel talks about money in a way you can actually use. This is entertainment content that helps you see common mechanisms, not financial advice for each person. What you are experiencing is not because you are weak. It is not because you are ungrateful. It is also not because you must grind harder to crush life. What is pulling you is a psychological mechanism that has been studied since the 1970s. It is like an invisible treadmill under your feet. You keep stepping, but the scenery called happiness does not get closer. That mechanism works coldly. Humans can adapt to change, both good and bad, and eventually return to a relatively stable emotional baseline. You win a large amount of money, you feel high for a while, then the high fades. You face a shock, you hurt for a while, then the brain finds a way to rebuild a livable state. This is not folklore. Many studies have observed it for a long time. There was a study published in 1978 that noted lottery winners were not significantly happier after about 1 year, compared to ordinary groups. In some cases, they even found daily small pleasures more dull. It sounds cruel, but it gives you an important clue. This is not a poor versus rich problem. This is a software problem in the brain. And the brain runs that software on every money upgrade you have ever had. Every raise, every promotion, every time you move from old to new, the brain registers it and then quickly labels it standard. The adaptation window differs, but often a few months is enough for the new thing to become normal. The income level that made you proud at the start of the year, by mid-year, becomes just a number on your paycheck. This is why you never feel rich, even though you may be earning more than your past self. Because feeling rich is not inside the number, it is inside the contrast. When contrast disappears, the brain demands the next increase to feel like you are moving forward. Said plainly, the brain is not designed to stay impressed. It is designed to survive and keep seeking. You might ask, so does money make you happy? Yes, but not in the way you imagine. A large study published in 2010 suggested that daily emotional well-being rises with income up to around $75,000 a year. And then the effect flattens. Many people hear that number and react immediately. 75,000 does not go far today. I agree. If you adjust for inflation, people often translate it to roughly $95,000 to $100,000. But the story does not stop there. Another study in 2021 suggested happiness can still rise as income rises. It just rises much more slowly. That means you must spend double the effort to buy a small slice of extra well-being. That is when the game becomes dangerous, because you start trading time, health, and calm for a reward that keeps shrinking. This is the part where I want you to look straight at the math of life.
Let's adjust this.
Imagine you are
to
30 years
95,000.
old, earning about $60,000 a year. After taxes, you take home about $47,000, around $3,900 a month. Your essential costs: housing, utilities, basic food, transport, insurance, land around $2,400. You have about $1,500 left, enough to breathe, but not wide open. Then you get raised to $80,000. You bring home about $62,000, around $5,200 a month. It sounds like a big win, but the control panel turns on a different light, the one called "You Deserve It." You move into a nicer apartment, adding about $500 to rent. You upgrade the car because the monthly difference feels small, and you eat out more because you are busy and you are rewarding yourself. Then the small subscriptions multiply and the little extras stick. The result is that your essential and half-essential costs swell. You look back and your monthly breathing room does not grow. It may even shrink. This is not you being stupid. This is a common reflex. Life automatically expands to swallow the new resources. And this is where Gen Z is getting hit hard. And not many people name it clearly. It is called dopamine spending. Spending to get a short hit while your mind is tired from work, bad news, and uncertainty. You buy something small to soothe yourself, then many small things become a stream. There is also a vibe some people call recession core, where people fear downturns but still try to live pretty to feel they control something. When your mind lacks control, your wallet pays to compensate. Some recent reports suggest that even people earning between $100,000 and $150,000 still have a large share who say they live month to month. Even groups above $200,000 are not immune. You might get angry at the economy, and I understand, but there is a colder question. If income is high and stress stays high, what is actually eating our peace? The answer is often that we are not only buying things, we are buying belonging. As your income rises, you enter a new social circle, new standards, new expectations. You do not want to fall behind, even if you never say it. And the invisible treadmill loves comparison because it turns life into a race with no finish line. I know some people will react. So should we live like monks? No. The problem is not wanting more or wanting less. The problem is whether you want with intention or you get pulled automatically. There is a huge difference between upgrading because you truly value space, privacy, and time with people versus upgrading because that is just what people do when income rises. When you upgrade by habit, you pay money to buy a new normal. When you upgrade by values, you pay money to buy a piece of life that fits you. The treadmill runs on autopilot. It whispers that more is always better, and that your future self will finally be satisfied. But your future self will also adapt, and it will ask for more again. I want you to keep one idea. Enough is a number, not a feeling. The feeling of enough always arrives later than income because it gets dragged by adaptation and comparison. If you chase that feeling by running faster, you only make the treadmill speed up. You do not win by running well, you win by changing the rules. In the next part, I will give you a 3-step map to step off the treadmill without killing ambition. One step is about locking a lifestyle anchor, so each raise does not turn into more stress. One step is about a practice that sounds dark, but makes you feel richer within that same week. And one step is about the most expensive thing you are selling cheaply every day, your time. If you want to continue, part 2 starts right from that map. And we walk to an ending cold enough to wake you up, but warm enough for you to do it, starting from the 3-step map I promised. I will repeat this once clearly. This is entertainment content to help you understand a common mechanism, not financial advice for each individual. But if you do it right, you will feel something very real. You will feel lighter without needing one more dollar. Step 1. You must lock an anchor into your life. An anchor here is not cutting all joy. It is setting a rule before emotions explode. Because when you just got a raise, your brain will open a shopping list immediately, and it opens very fast, faster than your logic. Imagine next month you get $10,000 more per year. If you do not have a rule, most of that money will disappear, and you will not know where it went. It leaks into rent, car payments, meals, clothes, and small things that stick around. You do not spend because you need it. You spend because you are proving to yourself that you moved up a level. The anchor rule is this. Every time your income rises, you only allow a part to flow into lifestyle upgrades, and the rest flows into saving or long-term investing. You can choose a ratio you can tolerate, but choose it when you are calm. Some people choose 30% for life, 70% for the future. Some people choose 50%, 50%, as long as it is fixed. The important point is not a pretty number. The important point is that you do not renegotiate every time. Every time you renegotiate, you lose, because your opponent is your own emotion. The anchor turns a decision into a habit, and habit is much cheaper than willpower. When habit runs, the invisible treadmill slows down by itself. Now I will give you a clear example. Your income increases, and you allow yourself to upgrade only one thing, the thing you truly use every day. It can be a quieter room, or a better chair for your back, or a course that increases your skills. You choose one thing, and you stop. You do not buy more to decorate the feeling of victory, because upgrading many things at the same time creates an illusion. You think you are living better, but in truth you are buying a new feeling for a few weeks. Then that feeling turns off, and you are stuck with long bills. Smart people do not say no to upgrades, they only say no to chain upgrades. Here is a new part that many videos do not say. You need to create friction for spending. Friction is small steps that slow you down before you press pay. You can leave your card at home when you go for a walk, or turn off save payment info on your phone, or set a 24-hour rule for anything non-essential. 1 second of slowing down sometimes saves you from a month of stress. You think friction makes life annoying, but it actually makes life controlled. Advertising out there is designed to erase friction. Buy fast, buy now, buy to feel less sad. When you create your own friction, you are taking back the steering wheel, and the steering wheel is what makes you feel richer, not the bill for buying more things. Step 2, it sounds dark, but it is the strongest antidote against adaptation. You need an exercise called imagining loss, so your brain looks at what you have as if you just got it back. It sounds cold, but it is clean. Once a week, you take 10 minutes, and you imagine losing one thing that has become your standard. You can imagine losing your current job, going back to the income level from 6 years ago. You imagine your current room disappears. You must live more cramped, more noisy. You imagine your car is gone, you must use cheaper transport, slower transport. You do not do that to torture yourself. You do it to break the numb layer that adaptation creates. When you open your eyes, you see clearly the gap between the bad thing you just imagined and the real thing you are living. That gap is exactly the feeling of enough, the thing you keep searching for at the next income milestone. Many people hate the word gratitude because it sounds like a slogan. I also hate slogans. But gratitude, if done right, is not forced smiling. It is an emotional management technique. It helps you feel richer without increasing income because you restore the contrast that your brain stole. There is a trap you must avoid. You do not use this exercise to justify enduring a bad life. If you are in a toxic environment, you still need to change. But when life is already okay, this exercise helps you stop treating okay as automatic. And when you stop treating okay as automatic, you run less. Step 3. This is the step that wakes people up completely. You must optimize for time, not optimize for money. Many people say they want freedom, but their behavior is only buying more stuff and selling more hours. That is a losing deal, but it looks like success because it has a nice image. Think like this. Every extra dollar you spend to maintain an image is actually taking away a piece of your future time, because you will have to work extra hours to cover it. You will have to accept more pressure to keep the pace. You may earn a lot, but you do not own your day. I want you to see money as bricks that buy freedom. When you save and invest steadily, you are building a wall between you and panic. That wall does not appear in 1 month, but it appears very clearly after a few years. And when it appears, your sleep changes. There is a common rule in personal finance about a safe withdrawal rate of 4% per year. I do not want you to cling to the number as an absolute truth, because each life is different. But it is a simple way to see that if you have a large enough pool, you can live on a small part of it without having to jump into extra work just to survive. The important point is, You are buying the ability to say no. You may ask yourself, how do I know if I am buying time or buying stuff? The answer sits in this question. Does the thing you just spent on reduce the pressure to work in the future? If yes, that is buying time. If no, that is only buying a feeling. And feelings run out of battery very fast. Here is the second new part. I call it the time account. Each month, you write down how many hours you truly own, how many hours you can use without someone controlling you. If you must work extra to pay a consumer debt, those hours are not yours. If you must take a job you hate just to keep your lifestyle, those hours are also not yours. When you see your time account drop, you will understand why even when income rises, you still feel poor. Poor is not only lacking money, poor is also lacking control. Someone can live in a nice apartment, drive a new car, but still be poor in time. And being poor in time is a very painful kind of poor. At that point, you will look back at past upgrades with different eyes. You will see there are things you bought to save time, but they made you lose time. You bought a more expensive car to go faster, but you worked more to pay, and the total time lost was larger. You bought a bigger home to feel comfortable, but you must clean, repair, carry pressure, and your free time gets worn down. There is a cold observation. Most people do not lack money to live. They lack money to stop. They do not have a buffer to refuse an unreasonable request. They do not have space to rest when the body sends an alarm. And so they keep running, even though they have been tired for a long time. This is where the destination story becomes dangerous. You keep thinking when you reach 100,000, you will be calm. When you have 1 million in net worth, you will be calm. When you pay off the house, you will be calm. But if you do not learn how to live in the journey, you will reach the milestone and feel empty, because your brain will move the target in silence. I have met people who set a financial freedom goal for 20 years, and when they arrived, they felt confused. They no longer had a reason to wake up early, no longer had a game to win. They discovered they had hung happiness on a milestone, while happiness lives in the feeling of progress each day. And when progress disappears, they fall into silence. So your plan must have two tracks running in parallel. One track builds assets, and one track builds life. Life here is not spending more, it is living more correctly. You must keep the things that make you feel like a human being, not a machine that produces income. If not, even if you are rich in money, you are still poor in meaning. Here is the third new part, the 7-day no upgrade test. For 7 days, you do not buy anything just to feel better. You still eat normally, still pay bills, still live, but you do not reward yourself with shopping. Each time you want to press buy, you write down the feeling. Is it sadness, boredom, tension, or loneliness? After 7 days, you will see a truth. Many things you want to buy are actually only a way to avoid emotion. You do not need that thing, you need rest. You need to talk, you need to walk, you need sleep. When you realize this, you start using money as a tool, instead of using money as a painkiller. Now we connect the 3 steps. The lifestyle anchor keeps rising income from turning into rising pressure. Imagining loss restores the feeling of enough right in the present. Optimizing for time turns saving into freedom, not into a number to show off. And here is the climax, the sentence I want you to remember. The invisible treadmill has no finish line because it is made of adaptation and comparison. If you chase the feeling of enough by buying more and earning more, you are only pouring fuel into that machine. To win, you must change the fuel from unconscious craving to conscious choice. You are not broken, you are just running old software in a world full of tempting buttons. Billboards, social media, people around you, all whisper that you are not enough. But enough is not a feeling that falls onto you. Enough is a decision you must set like a rule. When you set the rule, you start driving, and the control panel returns to the right place. If you want, today you only need to do one small thing. Choose an anchor ratio for your next income increase. Even a small increase counts. And choose one day each week to do the 10-minute imagining loss exercise so your brain stops treating your current life as automatic. You will be surprised how quickly the lightness arrives. I am Miles. If this video made you see money as a system, instead of a chase, you can press like and subscribe because we still have many things to dissect. And next time, I will talk about a more painful question. Why some people do not earn much, but still feel calm, while some people earn very much and never sleep in peace.